And you're watching the Break It Down show.
That was it. Yeah, you did it. Perfect. You did a good job. I'm going to point anyhow. Hey, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you. Here's one thing I love, and I think you'll appreciate this. I love love. I learned from a guy named Rob Bell. He's a pastor. He's like, just lean on love. It doesn't ever run out of energy. It's always there. And if you just go that direction, you're going to find way more love than you've ever realized. And he's been right. Every time I am able to, at my best, I just focus on love, and I'm better able to deal with the situation. Now, I'm not saying I'm great at this, but that is sort of my practice. And I thank Rob for that insight when he was on my show talking about the power, the limitless power of love. So thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for talking about love and relationships and all these things. We always have a need to improve our ability to relate to one another, and you're a person who helps us do that. So thank you for that.
No, my pleasure. So I have a question for you. What do you
Yeah.
get when you squeeze an orange?
I mean, lots of things, but orange juice mostly,
Orange
right?
juice.
That's
It's
the
not
goal.
a trick
Yeah,
question. If you
yeah,
squeeze a lemon, you get a lemon. So,
yeah,
Pete, what if I squeezed you? What if you squeezed me? What would people get? Would they get hatred? Would they get anger? Would they get frustration? Or would they get love? Or would they get empathy? Would they give authenticity? So ask
yeah.
yourself, readers, what would happen if someone squeezed you? What would come out? You would be amazed how powerful this one tidbit is.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, I practice, and I'm not very good at it, but I practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and there's a whole lot of hugging in there, right? And what comes out of you is stuff that you don't need, right? And so yeah, I think how you look at that, there's so much stuff I know that we hang on to that doesn't belong to us. There's another thing I learned from my show is like that's not my business. Even if it's important business, even if it's the most important business in the world, but it's not my business. I don't need that. And so if I don't absorb these things that don't belong to me and confess to everything else, I have less of that bad stuff that needs to come out of me when I go work out in the dojo.
Yeah, and I have this. It's called the right shoulder rule.
Hmm.
So if I say to you, "Would you rip off your right shoulder, knowing you would die within 4 seconds, and give it to me?" It would be a hell no, correct?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that's a rule that you have, and it's a good rule. Keep it. All right. Now,
Yeah.
what if you had the same rule for your happiness? Under no circumstances will I give my happiness away. How would your life
Yeah.
change?
Well, you'd have a whole lot more happiness around. That's for sure.
Isn't it?
I, yeah, it's a good exercise, right? Like when we apply this rule across a lot of measures, in terms of, and again, this is from my ridiculous show that teaches me so much stuff. I had a bunch of people that were incarcerated for life sentences. Some of them have murdered people or at least been convicted of it. And they all said, everybody's worthy of redemption. And it doesn't mean you get out of jail. It doesn't mean that Charles Manson was ever going to leave prison, but he's worthy of redemption. But he has to lead that redemption charge. And so all of these guys, and I'm not saying all prisoners, but all of these guys I talked to, right around 11 years of being in jail for the rest of their lives, they all said, then I figured it out. It was about me. And I began, that wasn't the fix. That was the beginning of the change. And another 10 or so years, maybe 15 years later, they were able to sit in front of a parole board and have those people speak up on their behalf because they began that process. And so, the default should be redemption. How do we build a redemptive path reliably and fail at that as opposed to the punitive path or these other paths that don't seem to reliably give us a good result?
Yeah, and the underlying factor is love.
Yeah.
If you can bring love to the table, that will conquer all. But if you bring, anger, frustration, hate, it's just going to precipitate more. There's always a way, and it's always around communication. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and asking the right questions. And the meaning we put behind things. As human beings, we're meaning making machines. Something happens, we make it mean something. And what we have to do is just see things as they are, not catastrophize, not make them worse than they are, and just ask ourselves, what would love do here?
Mm. How do we get to know what love would do? How do we practice that?
Um, Pete, it's a muscle.
Okay.
And the more you practice it, and I just wrote an article today, it's about the 1% rule. I call it compounding happiness. If I said to you, Pete, could you be more 1% more loving today?
Yeah.
You could.
Right.
1%
Yeah.
more
Right.
giving, generous, playful, fun, exciting. My wife wouldn't think so, but I could be 1% funnier. But if you compound all of that 1% a day, it would take about 94 days to get 100% because of the
Yeah.
power of compounding. It's the greatest force on this earth.
Yeah. And isn't it true that by simply being more aware of this, maybe slowing down, maybe being a touch more deliberate, I'm not saying don't act, but by just turning up your capacity to love more, can't you reliably gain 1% for a significant amount of time? Because as you study it and as you practice, just by the nature of your work, you're going to just get more efficient and get a purer form of love that comes out of you.
And then a beautiful thing happens, Pete. You become love and you don't do love. A lot of people do love. Oh, let me give you this. Let me give you this. But that's not the way to do it. The secret is to become love. It's a being, not a doing. And it's just a
It's a,
muscle. You just have to do it.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that. We often in the zeitgeist out here will say you have to be authentic, and I would say I are authentic. Like you just it's not something you do. Yes, you can practice it, but either you are authentic or not. It's not a state of something that you try to be. Just be authentic. Just do it. And I think love is the same thing. Just be someone that is full of love, that has boundless love, and go be great at that. Fail at that for sure, but be great at it first.
Yeah. And the classic example is a baby. It just gives
Mm,
pure love. And in turn, you give it love. It poops, it messes up, it pees on you. You still give it love. You don't make it mean anything. You don't get angry, don't react. You just accept. And that's the definition of love. You accept the person as they are. But we're making so many judgments, we're making so many complaints, we're making so many stories around something. And it's just so painful. It doesn't need to be that way.
what happens when you start to make that love practice part of your daily practice? I often say like at my best, or and I fail a lot at these things, right? But that's where I'm trying to be is conscious that yeah, I do need to love more. I need to love myself more. I need to love my guest, and just continue to pour love out of my everlasting honey bucket of love. That's what I need to do. But is that even a viable approach? What's the how do we create this practice for ourselves? How do we recognize it when we're spewing out something other than love?
So the secret is awareness. Awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. You cannot be in love. You cannot be successful. You cannot be joyful without awareness. So that's the first thing. And then there's one sentence will change everybody's life. If you just do this one thing. And I stole some of it from Steve Martin. Steve Martin said, be so good you cannot be ignored. And I thought, nah, I'm not a good guy. Then I changed it to be so amazing. I'm an amazing guy. Be so amazing you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter because you're showing up the best version of you. It will change your life.
A lot of this reminds me of stuff I talked to. There's a rapper named the DOC that I've had on the show. Great guy and a philosopher at this point in his life as well. His girlfriend was Erica Badu, and she said, "You carry around stuff that doesn't belong to you. You know, start putting it down. And if it does belong to you, pick it back up. Like, oops, that does belong to me." She's like, "You'll leave a lot of stuff behind that you don't need, man." And that bit of advice, I've practiced that hard, and the love thing is one of these areas where I do that. But he also said, if you're great, opportunity will find you, right? And this is kind of the same thing. Just focus on being great, and someone or something is going to be attracted to you in a way that allows you opportunity that you wouldn't have had if we just focused on these positive attributes, being great, love, all these other things that make you someone who's wonderful to be around, which makes you attractive, by the way.
It's true. And it's all vibrational,
Mm,
as you start processing this and you start being, your vibrational energy changes. And then when your vibrational energy changes, it attracts something totally different. So, Pete, there are two types of people on the planet. It's very simple. Ones that make you happy when you enter a room, ones that make you happy when they leave a room. They either suck energy or give energy. And it's a choice. And there were times when I used to suck the energy. I just didn't know. I didn't have the awareness. But now I do. And it's a choice. And then we can even turn it up, but just by asking quality questions. How can I serve Pete right now? What could I do to enhance this interview? What else could I say? How else could I help him? So it's incumbent on us to show up as the best version, because we never know what other people are going through. We just don't know what's going on in their heads, if they're suicidal, if they've got a disease, or they're going through some financial difficulties. By you showing up with a little bit of love can make the difference. That makes a difference.
Yeah. Boy, you said a lot there. I know part of your bio is your own approach with suicide. I have part of my PTSD. The legacy of that is I have suicidal ideation all the time, right? And I'm able to manage it and deal with it. And a lot of it is my mindset. If I can get my mind wrapped around it, even if it's going to be a bad day, I can just say, today's not a day I jump over the moon. Today's the day I just walk. I just do the least thing, even if it's just stay in bed and just work on recovering and take care of myself. A lot of these things are part of this practice that I've developed. And again, I'm not the world's greatest at it, but I am better than I was 5 years ago, and a lot calmer and a lot more full of love. I still get angry. I still get disappointed. It's still, all the other emotions are still there, but I do try to focus on, I like to say this. I like to say, I like to let folks be folks, and wherever they're at, that's all right, because they're not going to stay there. They're going to move in some direction. And if I'm a person that people want to be around, and that's definitely what I try to be, then maybe I'll give them a respite from where they are, and they can find a better spot. It's not my job to fix them, but it is my responsibility to myself to be a light in someone's life.
Yeah, this is a perfect intro. So let me share something that will be a game changer for you.
Please. Yeah.
Imagine you come home late at night. The room is completely dark. What's the first thing you do?
Turn the light on.
You turn the light on, of course. You know what most people do in life? They try and remove the darkness. They try and remove their negativity. And all they have to do, yeah, really.
Yeah.
I have to stop being negative. I did it. No, all you have to do is be the light. Once you become the light, the darkness will disappear. So when in doubt, just say, I have these incantations. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm playful. When I speak, people listen. I make a difference. I'm strong. I'm a public speaker, Tedx, Fox News, Sky TV, ABC, NBC, stage over 10,000 people. I love people. People love me. And then keep on saying these incantations, and then that becomes the light, and the darkness will disappear.
That feels uncomfortable, right? I know about this. It's a practice I practice, and I do it. But when I see someone else doing it, or I see myself externally doing it, I'm like, you are an insane person. I am a money for magnet, or magnet money. Magnets and money go together. Anyhow, all these things. So there was a commander I worked with in Iraq, and he stood in the mirror naked every day in the bathroom, and he would do his self-actualization. And it was like, wow, man, I got to get out of here. I got to not be here at 6:15 in the morning, because that's his time, his space. But that's what he did, and it's I guess it's no different than just getting down from your desk and doing some push-ups for a few minutes to kind of change your mental attitude.
Well, when you do these affirmations, and if there's any doubt, say the truth is, I am kind.
Yeah.
The truth is, people listen to me. The truth is, I'm strong. The truth is, I've overcome adversity. The truth is, and gratitude is a big thing. I'm going to lift up my left hand. I have to do it slowly, because I fractured it in 9 places on 25th of August.
Oof.
And I had no idea how intricate these hands are. So, Pete, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can't do anything like that with the left hand. I will.
Yeah.
I can't pick up these AirPods.
Right.
And we forget, Our hands have done so much for us. Our skin, our teeth, our eyes, our skin,
Yeah.
everything. So much to be grateful for. And we don't appreciate it until it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gratitude is a game changer. In the moment you're grateful, all your pain and suffering disappears.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. You're saying a lot there. A buddy of mine, Boone Cutler, passed away, dropped dead, about 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
And what would he want to do if he had another 2 weeks on this earth? Had to go no matter what. But if he had 2 more weeks given back to him, I bet he wouldn't mess around. Like he'd go and do whatever he was going to do, and it probably wouldn't be work. By the way, it would probably be
it will not
focusing
be
on his
work.
family and
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But we're so precious with our work and our work ethic, and you have to because you got to make money and survive. But when we say work-life balance, usually that means we work too much. Usually,
Well, I don't believe in work-life balance because there's never balance. So let me explain. If I'm pooping in that moment, there's no balance. I'm just pooping. If I'm eating my food, there's no balance. When I'm
right?
working really hard and I have to, I can focus on that. But the thing is, when you're with your family, be with the family. Don't be distracted. So
Mm-hmm.
there's an equilibrium. Sometimes you spend more time with family. That's great. But there's an equilibrium. When you're with someone, be with someone. When you're doing something, do that thing. Don't get distracted. And that's the problem these days. There's so many distractions that take us away from our joy.
How did you get here, where you are now, and then what's your rate of improvement on this whole love thing?
I don't know what my rate was. I know there was one time it escalated rapidly. In 2008, I was on the verge of suicide. I'd lost
Yeah.
everything, the car, the houses, the house. I didn't have houses. Um, the, all our funds, student funds, and I remember having to come up to my wife and said, "Look, honey, something really bad has happened." She said, "What's going on?" I said, "I've lost everything. We're going to lose the house, the cars, everything. We're going to be destitute." And Pete, she looked up at me and she smiled, and I thought, "Hang on a minute, there's something." What
Uh-huh.
I did
Uh-huh.
actually, I did swear, but yeah, that was
Okay.
because I was in a state. Then she said, "Honey, you've been behaving strangely. I knew something was wrong." I said, "Of course, there's nothing more important." She said, "No, honey, you don't get it." I said, Obviously, I don't get it." She said, "Honey, I thought you had cancer. I thought you were dying.
Mm. Yeah.
I, I don't care about the money." Pete, I thought that's what she wanted, but I
Yeah.
never had the common sense to ask her. Ask your partner,
Yeah.
what is it you want from me? And they'll tell you, I want you to be at home more. I want you to be present. I want you to play with the kids. I want hugs and snuggles. It's simple stuff, but we're overcomplicating it. And then she said, I don't, we don't care as long as we're with you. You haven't lost everything. You still have me and the kids.
Yeah.
And that was like rocket fuel. Then all of a sudden, I had weight lift off my shoulders. Then I started serving people. I started doing events, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100, 500, 10,000.
Yeah.
Because when you serve, it's the greatest gift. And Pete, I want to thank you for your service too, because
Thank you.
without you, there's no country. You
Yeah.
kept us safe. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah. The part of my recovery was also how can I wanted to do two things every day. I wanted to make someone's day, put a smile on their face. And I think I realized even more so, even before, I got to where I am now. Like when you're in your middle aged, you just don't get told, "Hey, you know what? You're doing awesome today. I love that beard. Those are a great set of shoes. You have good taste. Oh my God, you say this stuff and genuinely mean it. I don't mean like platitudes. But if you look down and you go, and whatever strikes you, you're like, you know what? I love those shoes. You have good taste, man. If people are able to receive that compliment, and that's on them if they can't, it brightens their day. And I loved it. I love to put a smile on someone's face. And that for me was part of my healing. And also if I could be valuable to somebody and I would thank them and I still do. Like my buddy Scott was like, I'm flying into town. I'm like, hey, how about I come get you from the airport? He's like, you want to do that? And I'm like, Sure, I'd love to get you from the airport. And we had this wonderful chat because, we didn't live anywhere near it's LAX. So we would drive over an hour to get him to where he was going. And at the end, I sent him a text. I said, thanks for letting me pick you up from the airport. It meant the world to me. And I was being 100% honest, Anil. And this was kind of how I started digging out of my hole that I was in. And man, it is life changing. Just trying to focus on giving someone else the opportunity to receive a compliment, to do something for somebody else. And I have this concept of like, just be a great guest. My friends may not want to support my podcast financially. That's okay. But a lot of them are like, how about I buy you lunch? I'm like, yeah, I'll take lunch. And so when we go out and they reach for the check, I let them. I am their guest. And I've learned how to be a good guest too, because that allows them to feel better. And this will sound awkward and odd to people who aren't used to this, but it is okay to allow someone else to be great and to receive that greatness from them. It's such an amazing exchange. It's one of the reasons why people are attracted to hanging out with me, because not because I always get free lunch, but I'm always looking for ways to create value in our relationship.
And it's a beautiful thing. And, in order to give more, you have to receive more. A lot of people are great givers, but they're not
Yeah.
great receivers. And it's breaking the law of the universe. If you were serving someone, they said, no, I don't want that. You wouldn't feel happy. So you have to learn to receive. So I have a challenge for you, Pete. You will love this.
Okay, let me hear it. All right, let me hear it.
Okay, I have this 3-foot rule. Okay. Anyone who comes within 3 feet of me, I will say something pleasant, nice, affirming, or funny to them. And like you, nice shoes, nice bag, nice dress, nice hat, nice hair, nice smile, nice energy, whatever I can. Or elevators is the best place. So I often say to people, you're wondering why I called you into this meeting. They can't go anywhere. So the meeting is about why people don't talk in elevators. And then, people laugh, and then, you just go on our merry way.
Yeah, I love it. I have something similar, and maybe I need to richen it. So let me throw it at you. Okay, so if you're clerking for me, whether you're at the gas station, convenience market, or the grocery store, or any place like that, and they say, do you want the receipt? And if I'm buying like 7-layer dip, I say, no, I'm not going to return this. I'm going to eat it. And they get a kick out of that.
I like that.
Yeah, use it. It works great. It only works in this right circumstance. You might have to twist it for the circumstance that you're in. But yeah, like if you're at a bar, like, hey, you want the receipt for like, no, I'm just going to drink this. I'm not going to return it. And then, they're just like, huh. And it's clever, right? And so I need to add a little something else to that. Or maybe not. Maybe you just do something else. But that is one of the things I like to do, to put a smile on someone's face, to give them a little laugh.
Okay, Pete, I'm going to tell you this, but don't share this with anyone. Okay.
Okay.
This
Nobody
is what
listen.
I do.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, you have something on your face. It's a smile.
Oh. Yeah.
Always get some, especially in restaurants. I get
Yeah.
so many upgrades at hotels and airports because of that one little thing.
This one doesn't.
They've had a hard day. They've had a hard day, and they think, oh, there's some food. Oh, I just ate some spinach. Oh my God. No, it's a smile, and you have to do it really seriously.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I have one that it doesn't work quite as well, but I still like it, and so I still do it. But it's along those same lines where you got something on your face. There's a bunch of those things, those human interaction things, where you just take a moment to pop someone out of their bubble. I'm also a big fan of the person that faces out and you walk by them in the airport as you leave the security zone. I stop and I turn around and I look at that person and I say, hey, thank you for being here and protecting us. I know you're just sitting there, you're not invisible, I see you. And then by the time they figure I'm saying something to them, they're like, what? Huh? Who? Huh? Because they're like they're always in this trance. And I just try to be like, hey, no, really, seriously, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's not a fun job to do that right there.
No.
And you're doing it. And so thank you. And it's those little moments. And there's a lot of these little moments where you can jump into someone's world and pop them out of that world and bring them into a world that is more full of love and lightness or whatever.
Yeah, I thank the janitors in restrooms. Say, hey, thank you for keeping it clean, because no one thanks them. It's a horrible job.
Yeah. I used to be a handyman, and it was really easy to be invisible. And I wasn't a very good handyman. Usually one of my buddies who was going through divorce or needed a job or something was the handy person. And I still did things. I was busy the entire time, but I focused on the relationship part of it. And like I would say things to my client, oftentimes the wife, oftentimes the office manager, and they would have this huge job. I need to go to IKEA and buy and build 40 desks. Can you help me? Is this going to work out? And I'm like, I want you to worry about anything else but this. This I got. If I have to call you, I will, but I'm not going to call you. Just go do anything else you want. You've hired the right person. And they would be like, oh, thank God. And it would take this weight off of them, you know. Now maybe something comes along that I call them like, all right, I had to tell you, I might have to call you. I'm calling you. Here's the thing, just to keep me in the loop. But hey everybody, how you doing? This is Pete from the Break It Down Show. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. I guess I'll do my call to action right now while we wait for Anil to come back. There's a link, breakitdownshow.com PayPal link or the Amazon link. Those are good ways to support the show. There's all kinds of things that you can do to support the show. And if you don't want to do it, hey, that's fine. I'm out here working, trying to make the world a better place. And Neil is doing the same thing. Make sure you go to Neil's website, which for me right now is right here. Wait, hold on. I'm going to get it. There it is right there. That's where it is for me, at least. Go to meetanil.com and you will be able to hang out with him and talk to him. You can see what kind of loving guy he is. If you are watching on YouTube, super chats, etc., always nice. You can get shirts at our shirt shop, all kinds of fun ones. I'm wearing a Break It Down Show branded shirt today. It's the I invented this character called the Were Pineapple. And I was thinking to myself, it was a werewolfy moon kind of night, and I thought, what if it wasn't a werewolf that got you, and you became aware of something else? And then I thought of the most ridiculous thing, but pineapple. A Were Pineapple. So if you can imagine what a Were Pineapple looks like, that's what's on my shirt. You can wear these shirts too by going here. I'll put the link up. We'll wait for Anil to come back, and we'll get a chance to do that. One of the things that I am doing in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to Spy Q. This is Gavin Stone's. It's his spy conference. It's going to be in Dorset, England. If you want to come, you still can. Tickets are, I think there's some tickets left. They're getting really low. But if you want to come, that'd be fun to see. If you're in England and you're one of our followers out there, man, I'd love to. I'll be in London one day and I'll be in Dorset the rest of the time. But it'd be great to catch up with you. Really, in general, if you're in Southern California, look me up. I'm glad to go out and grab a bite or any of those things. All right, I'm going to check my email to see if we got anything from Anil, letting us know he's alive and okay. Give me a moment, everybody. Yeah. I think we're all right. We're just going to let him take his time to do that. Anyhow, we have a lot of great, really, really, really great guests coming up. Well, that's always true, but it's just an amazing opportunity to be able to go out and survey this landscape. How about the peace accords signed today or delivered with the hostages released between Hamas and Israel? Well, that's a big day. Everybody should be excited about that. That's a reason for love and happiness. So there you go. All right, let me just take one more. Aha! I have my man back. Welcome back.
All right,
I was doing some calls to action, and so we've called everybody to action, and of course everybody knows these things, but you know you're supposed to do something, so we filled the time. Hey man, I appreciate you in the way you're talking about all this stuff because it's very attainable. You know, this practice of love. So I guess I'm gonna get back to that question. Like, what's your rate of improvement still? Like, do you feel like every day you're still growing? How do you assess where you're at and where you're going? I mean, you've already done so much to have all this stuff and to grab these people and put them in a room and make them excited about love. How's your growth?
So I don't actually do it, but there is a way you can actually gauge how happy you are. And I have a formula, which is this: happiness is equal to G times G times G. So on the 25th of August at 8:30 a.m. EST, the formula is for happiness is give, grow, gratitude. Give your time, your energy, love, your gift, your money, your joy. Give it away without wanting anything in return. 2, be grateful for what you have. And 3, be growing emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, financially. So my scores for each of them were 999, which is 729.
Okay.
At 9:15 a.m., when I slipped and fell, I dislocated my wrist, 9 fractures, 2 pins. um, plate surgery, emergency room. It went down to 111. So my score went from 729 to 1. Then 10 seconds later, Pete, I was so grateful. I was filled with gratitude. Do you know why?
Why?
It's my left hand. I'm right-handed.
Nice.
So my
Yeah.
gratitude
See?
went up from 1 to a 5. The next one was give. I asked myself, how can I give? I'm lying here on the floor. I've got, the fire crew here. I've got 12-point EKGs on me. And I started thanking people. Thank you for looking after me. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your love. And my score went up to a 5. Then I asked myself, how can I grow? I said, you know what? How could I grow? You know what? I'm going to grow emotionally. I'm going to use this as a way to teach people how to overcome adversity. I've done it before. I'm going to grow mentally. I'm going to cure myself much faster than anybody. I'm going to be back. I'm going to do this. So that went up to a 5. So it went from 729 to 1 to 125, 5 times 5 times 5. So if ever you want to measure how happy you are, and that is a function of love because you're loving yourself, that's the way to do it. And anytime you're upset, always work on the lowest bucket, which is the lowest G. Is it give? Do I need to give? Do I need to grow? Do I need to be grateful? And that way, everything rises. It's quite brilliant.
I love it. Yeah. And you made me think about a time when I missed an opportunity. It's a challenging opportunity, but it also involves me being in the hospital. Last year I had my ankle rebuilt. So it's been about a year and a half since that happened, but it got infected. And so in early April, I had to go back to the doctor. And oh my gosh, it hurt already. But then one of the residents had to jam a giant needle into my ankle joint and try to suck out any kind of infected fluid. Let me tell you, I'm pretty tough. And let me tell you something, that was not comfortable. And then the doctor who fixed my leg, she came up and started trying to express anything from the wound. And let me tell you, I was on morphine and that stuff hurt so bad.
Wow.
It hurt so bad. Like hip bucking pain, right? And I'm not a doctor, but I've done a lot of medical stuff because of my military career. And you feel awful, like you're going to hurt the person. And what I should have done was said, thank you for doing that procedure on me. But every time she came up, I was like, because I knew she had to do this several times to me over the course of a week. And she doesn't want to hurt me. She wants to heal me, right? But I let her absorb all of that. And this is what I learned from you today. When I'm in distress and someone's helping me, I need to be able to slow down and spread some love there. So there's a hole in my game. You've improved my game today. Thanks. And I don't know where that goes in the equation, but I'll work on that. And yeah, the next time they jam a needle into my ankle, I'm not going to act like it doesn't hurt, but I am going to say thank you for doing that. I know you're doing your best to not hurt me, and this is going to hurt no matter what, but it's all right. I appreciate you doing that, and let them know it's okay, because even though they know and they're going to do the job, it's just, there's some love in there that I could have gave out. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate you teaching me that today.
Yeah, beautiful. And I had a similar experience when I fractured my arm, because my wrist, I had to go to the emergency for them to reduce it, which means stretching it and put it back. And I'm a baby with pain and needles. I had both. But what I did, I thanked them, and I also meditated, and I sent my wrist love, and just focused on something else, and my wife was there, so she was there to support me. Some good-looking nurses were there. That sort of distracted me too.
Yeah.
Oh, and laughing helps too. I like throwing some humor. So I went in. I said, "Hey, by the way, just in case, it's my left wrist."
Yeah. There's another funny thing that I like to do is if someone, especially on Facebook or in a conversation, they say, "Oh, your hair looks great," to the girl who's standing next to me, I'll slide in and I'll take that compliment and I'll say, "Oh, thank you. I didn't really work on it, but I appreciate you noticing." And then they're like, no. And it's so great because they follow this path all the time. They'll say, "No, I meant Anil's hair." And I'm like, "Oh, And you're like, oh, I mean, your hair looks nice. And then you laugh because it's just, I've made this uncomfortable, funny, hilarious moment,
Yeah,
so anytime you can, I recommend stealing a compliment because it shakes up the performative nature of our conversations and
yeah,
allows us to like all like kind of realize the hilarity and all these things. Because of course you have nice hair, Pete, even though like now it's more of a platitude, but at least we're kind of playing along.
yeah. And
Uh,
people need to
yeah.
learn to laugh and laugh at themselves. I think that's a big part of life.
Mm, yeah.
I know I have a lot of
Yeah.
material, so
Yeah. when you're trying to help folks with their relationships, whether it's kids, friends, special someone, what are just like you must have like a model, like these are the three things you need to do, whatever it is. But how do we do that? How do we get past the things that slow us down and get in the way between us and the love that we're supposed to have for our people that we love?
yeah, it's hard because we're so attached to things. One of the biggest things you can do for yourself is to forgive yourself.
Mm,
Forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The quality of your life is dependent on the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to yourself and to others. The other thing
mm.
is really self-love. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay.
Yeah.
And the third thing really I think is communication, how you communicate with yourself and to others. Um, so forgiveness is really not anything to do with the other person. It's about you letting go, you having the freedom. I did an exercise with a beautiful soul the other day, and she said, Anil, a 50-pound weight just lifted off my shoulder. And you could see it,
Oh
her
wow.
complexion changed. She said afterwards, I can't believe what's happening. I'm getting deals. People are coming up to me and say, have you had a facelift? What's going on? She didn't have to say a single word. So it's a big thing. And most people have issues with their mums or dads, mostly with their dads. But
Yeah.
just remember
Yeah.
one thing: without your dad, there is no you.
Sure.
Honor
Yeah.
source. And there are two parts to your father. There are two parts to your mother. One is the person who gave you life, and the other is their behavior. You
Mm,
don't have to love their behavior, but you can still love them. And that's a huge distinction because people don't realize the difference until I point it out to them.
yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
You don't have to love their behavior.
Sometimes they make it hard too. We've got someone in our lives with a pretty severe case of dementia, but they can still talk and express emotions, and they are not the kindest person anymore. And boy, the kinds of guilt that you invent for yourself as you try to reckon with this unreckonable thing. The reality is this person's going to die, and there's no comebacks, there's no improvements. Whatever today was their last best day at that level, and they slowly wash away. All of that is hard. It is really hard to do by yourself in
Well,
a
it's not
busy
hard.
life.
It's
Oh,
not
I
hard.
think so. But tell me
I,
though.
I,
Tell
will-
me about it. Teach me.
okay. Imagine this is a spray can. I'm going to spray you with
Okay.
this stuff. Okay. It's called
Yes.
polytetrafluoroethylene spray.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Polyethylene. Full
Tetraethylene spray.
tetra. Tetra.
Yes,
No, what's tetra?
PTFE.
Okay, PTFE.
Okay,
What
that's
is it?
Teflon. It's a non-stick frying pan spray.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
before you go in to see this man, what you say is this: this is my life. I'm in charge. I have the right shoulder rule. No matter what you
Uh-huh.
say to me, whatever you do, you will not upset me. It will just fly off me.
Right.
You're giving your power away, Pete. The most
Mm,
expensive real estate in the world is in between your ears. Never give it away to anybody else. And it's
okay.
just another muscle.
Yeah.
Forgive them,
Yeah.
for they know not what they do.
Right.
You don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
take
right.
them.
Yeah, the disease is the one talking, right? It's not the person. That person doesn't
Yeah,
reside in that head anymore. It's not
yeah,
reliably. And so, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's a good practice. Again, not something you have to do perfectly, but and for sure, you get hurt as you watch this person go through this awful demise. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, you're right. And we do our best, right? And my special someone and I often do go visit with the other person together because it's just easier to
yeah.
take off some steam, to not have to do it all yourself, and there is some value in that. And I think it takes something that for us would be hard in our relationship if my special someone was doing it alone, and it gives us an opportunity to do something hard together. And I find it to be, I don't know if it's curative, but it is a good way to be grateful and to give and to do these part of your equation. It's powerful when it comes to that, but it is still for us awfully hard to do because it's it, it's when you realize what they're going through as you start to understand that disease. It's awful. It's awful, and
Yeah,
you feel awful about them having to go through it.
yeah. And there's a conversation you can have with your son. It says, son, let's make sure we optimize our health so we don't have to go through this at the later life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. When you get called to help out a business, I'm curious on what you talk about because you're talking about, talking to yourself in the mirror and equations with a whole bunch of G's in it. How does this relate to a business when you come in and try to help them use love more? How do you get your RX for love to those guys so they can consume?
So, so the biggest thing in business is a sense of worthiness. A
Hmm.
lot of the people, they feel they're not worthy of the success. They're not deserving. They have imposter syndrome. So the first
Hmm.
thing, one of the things we do is increase their worthiness and then help them, not motivate them, but inspire them. Why are they in business? What's the outcome? And one of the things I make them do is to write their obituary. How do they want to be remembered by? And
Hmm.
what difference does the business make? How many lives have they changed by having employees? And then giving them clarity, not seeing things as they are, not as they think that they are, or catastrophizing. And then asking quality questions. How can you double your income? How can you 5x? How can you 10x? And one of the big things, Pete, is this. I give them the three-way test, the three-way rule. What are the
Hmm.
three things that you should be doing that no one else can do well? So for me, it's speaking, coaching, content. Anything else I don't do because it's a
Right.
distraction. They're the greatest things I can do. But most people, and I was guilty, I used to be a problem solver. I'd go into the office and there'd be a problem here, problem there, and I'd fix all the problems, but it was a distraction. So if you're a business owner, focus on the three highest and best uses that you have. And it's normally something like systems, strategies, relationships, sales. Very simple stuff. And then
Hmm.
focus on that and delegate everything else because
Mm.
this needs to work at full capacity.
Yeah. And so that person who's downline from you, and they're going to focus on sales. So, like, is there a trifecta: sales, partnership with marketing, and development of salespeople? Like, how do they take that and not get crowded themselves? And how do you lead that process?
Well, it's difficult at first because they're so attached, they're
Mm.
so used to doing things. And I said I was a problem solver, but the problems would always come. Then I became a solution provider. That's what you have to
Mm.
become a problem solver to a solution
Yeah.
provider. So then the problems don't keep coming back. So one of the things, if you're a business owner, you say this to the people underneath you, do not come to me with a problem without at least three solutions.
Right.
And then Pete, they won't come back to you. They'll say, oh, this works.
Yeah.
There's no need to see the boss. But sometimes the boss wants them to come and see them because they feel good. They feel they're doing
Yeah.
something. They feel important. So everything that we do as human beings, we do it for a feeling.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if we feel good, money in the bank, a great restaurant, good food,
Yeah. Yeah.
it fills us up.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in this concept. It goes back to my spy work, but affect is better than effect. Affect is stronger. Effect is I'm going to write 15 love letters and that girl's going to love me. Affect is I'm going to smile at her and she smiles back. I'm going to get a response to the stimuli that I created. Now, hopefully, I'm getting the desired response. I'm getting a laugh, a smile, whatever. But we often focus on if we just do the thing and repeat the thing that we will be on this path of inexorable success. But that's not true. And the emotional piece of this is it's an accelerant for the goals that you want to accomplish. If you can build the stimuli that causes somewhere in your cone of success that emotion, but you also have to test for that. You can't just assume that you have trust. You have to test for trust. You can't just assume that you have joy. You have to test for it and see. And it kind of turns these emotions into a bit of a system to where you can say, I'm getting good inputs, let me go forward, or I'm able to do the next thing now, as opposed to just saying, like, yeah, because in the military they'll give you a smart card, right, and they'll say establish rapport. What is your name? Anil. How many kids do you have? 4. Okay, great. What is your wife's name? Oh, inappropriate. I'm sorry about that. Okay, now that we've established rapport, I will now move into the trust building phase. You know, it just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. But I will see people all the time. I would see them, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is not working. And they're so locked into their 1, 2, 3 ABC steps that they don't slow down to go back to 1 to make sure that they got 1 right. Because if you nail down 1, you might go to 5 immediately. But they never slow down. It's a performance of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's a function of, one of the functions is to listen more, speak less. Take an interest in what someone else is saying. Look for a golden nugget that they may say. Well, I have 2 kids and blah 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 blah. Oh, you have 2 kids. How old are they? And that's the way to take an interest in and continue that conversation into something that they can feel comfortable with and they feel excited to share with you.
Yeah. If you could, because we're getting close to about an hour here, if you could just get us going in the right direction, like how do we start today? We get off the couch, we're going to go love more. What are we doing?
Okay, so perform 5 random acts of kindness today. When you perform a random act of kindness, or any act of kindness actually, the person receiving it receives endorphins. They feel good. You feel good, but you also receive endorphins. The person observing the sharing, observing the act of kindness receives endorphins, so they feel good. The person sharing the act of kindness feels good. The person receiving the sharing feels good. The person observing the sharing of the sharing feels good. So it goes on a long way. So you never know what other people are going through.
Yeah.
Look
Other
at
people
your
get to
life
have
and
bad day. Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Okay, the second thing is be grateful for what you have. Look at your hands, and when was the last time you thanked them? Thank the people in your life. Thank a teacher, a friend, a colleague. Thank your parents for giving you life. Thank your parents for housing you and looking after you. See, in the moment you're grateful, in the moment you're giving, there is no pain, there is no suffering. And just look in the mirror and just love yourself. If you can't,
how hard is that to do?
Persevere. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But just do the cantations, and it may take 21 days, but it's worth it, because if you can't love yourself, how can someone else love you? When you love yourself, your capacity to love and be loved increases. Everyone benefits.
Yeah. There you go. It's that endless well of love. Mel Robbins is big on high five your mirror self. Hey, you're awesome, right? You're amazing, whatever it is. And there's something in that verbal. You do, yeah. There's something in the verbal and the physical act of saying, "Hey, you're awesome. You're going to have a great day today. Whatever comes your way, you're going to knock it out of the park." And I'm saying what I would say, right? She would say other things, but yeah, just accepting that we're doing better than we realize. We don't have to jump 8 feet in the air every time we try to do something, but we're desperate to try. And like, oh, I keep failing. I had in my workout this morning, I was a little disappointed in my overall performance. That's my initial response. But the second response, the adult response is and that's a great way to grow. Like I learned a lot today, I one of my goals is just to not run out of gas, because everybody there is younger than me, Anil, right? I'm 56 in January, so I'm pretty old, and they're all at the most in their mid 30s at the most, and so they've all got 20 years on me, and so of course they're gonna gas out way after I do. Like I'll be like, so I just like, can I survive this workout without constantly running out of air, and so, but in spite of doing that pretty good job and getting complimented on that very thing this morning, I was like, it's a tough workout. It was a rough workout. I didn't like that. You know, that was my response. But I was able to do you, and I was able to come back around and be like, yeah, thank you, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, for giving me a stronger body and a better mindset. And yeah, it was a great workout. It was challenging. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you put stress and strain on your body, it makes it stronger. You know, a lot of people don't do that when they're young, so they get osteoporosis and all sorts of things. And you know, you need to look after your body because you know when you have wealth, you can have everything, but when you lose your health, there's only one thing you want.
Yeah. Yeah, it's oh, and you were going to give us your third thing. I kind of jumped the track there on you and jumped in on that. But
Well,
what's
it's
the
really the first one was acts of kindness. The second one was write down 50 things you're grateful for.
Hmm.
And the third thing is write down all your accomplishments and what you've done today. So the first accomplishment was like 9 months before you were born. Okay, you know, think about that. Then you were
You won the
born.
lottery. Yeah.
Yeah, really. You pooped, you peed. That's a big thing. You crawled. That's a big thing. You walked. You spoke. These are all big things. Write them all down, and then you look back and say, "Oh my God, I've done so much." And then you'll realize that once you change the definition of something, you change your life. So if you change the definition of being successful to making progress, have you made progress in the last 30 years? Yes, you have. Then you're successful. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't make it too hard.
Don't make it too hard. No, I love that. What are you working on next? What's on your plate? You wrote this article. Can I grab a link for you for that? Where's that article posted at?
I'll send you some articles.
Okay.
I'll send them to you. I'm working on it's a brand new book with all this content.
Okay.
It's called the Heart Map of Love,
Okay.
and I've got someone someone I admire very deeply. She's going to write the forward for it. I'm doing working on an online course to teach people how to find the ideal partner without dating, because dating is stupid. And I'm just working on doing a podcast a day and serving people every day in any way that I can.
Yeah. Hey, dating isn't stupid, man. Dating is wonderful. We just treat it dumb, like in a bad way. Dating is great. Take your wife out and go on a date. Go to the opera. Let her get
But that's
dressed up.
different.
Wear your
That's
suit.
different.
Okay, but that's a date, though, right?
No, but dating is totally
Yeah.
different. You know, when you take your wife out, you've already succeeded there. But dating is
Right.
where you
Uh-huh.
have two individuals acting to be the best version of themselves, trying to please the other person to get to the next date, to the next date. So I call it the dating facade. So you're not
Oh,
really
okay.
seeing
All
the
right.
person as they are.
Unless, that is what you are and that's what you do is you go out and you continue to have these dates, right? You go out on dates. That's a form of dating. I would just yes, some of the facade stuff is not really what you want and we're all in our best behavior, but how do you become a better date? And you do that through practice, I would say.
Well, I'm a bit of an expert here. You become a
Oh,
better
okay, good.
date by working on yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
By you
Yeah.
becoming a better version of you, being stronger, kinder, more generous, more playful, more fun.
Yes.
That's what you should do. But most people don't
Yeah.
do that. They want to have a new partner without working on themselves, and you have to work on yourself.
And they want them titties. They want that sweater. They want what's inside. Yeah, like they get it with object fixated because you're attracted to someone, right? And so you act different. You got to be honest about this stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
you pick someone that
it's
you're attracted
physical.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is a
yeah.
difference between. I was realizing this the other day. It's my old man brain to being attractive and attracted. So I might see someone and say, that is a gorgeous young lady, but I'm not attracted to her, but she is attractive. And when I'm at my best, I'll find a way to say, like when all the young people in our lives get together and they all look fantastic. And I'm like, you guys cannot believe how great looking you all are. You cannot forget it. Don't think that you're all like gorgeous. Wow, look at you, because I want them to hear like, hey, like, when you look back at a picture of yourself from 10 years before, you're like, God, I thought I looked like crap. Actually, you don't look half bad here. Then you look at yourself in the mirror today, you're like, nope, today I look terrible, though I'm old and junky. But the reality is we all look way better than we realize if we just allow it. And there is a lot of good positive affirmation that you can cast out. Again, attractive versus attract ed. It's like, yeah, I can acknowledge that you are handsome, you are beautiful, whatever it is, without having to be like, this is a pervy thing. It just can be a compliment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And all the
What else do
kids,
you want to
they
leave?
look so young,
I know they do. They all look great
especially
wearing
doctors.
their. Oh, oh man, that is so
You know
true.
what?
That is so true.
People know what people may not know what we're thinking, but any doctor who
Yeah,
comes and treats me, they look 12 years old.
I know. Are you a resident? No, I'm a real doctor. I'm like, oh, sorry. And you look like you're 22 years old. Well, I'm 24. Like what? Or whatever. Yeah. And you're like, oh my God. But yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they got a baby face, because you can be 32 and be a full
Oh
doctor
yeah.
and have a baby face. And it's like, how old are you, Doogie? It's so true. What else you want to say before we
Yeah.
wrap this thing up? And thank you very much for coming on, man. This has been a real pleasure for me. I appreciate you.
Be so amazing you cannot be ignored. Be the best version of you, and I promise you, things will happen to you, for you. Your life will change, and you'll add more years to your life and more life to your years. I promise you.
I love it. All right, stand by. Come say goodbye to you, everybody else. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to be remote in LA. Here we go.
Thank you so much.